What's up, movie freaks? Welcome back to Hero Lair. I'm Dan, hanging with Sean and Mario. We saw a little independent film on the weekend that we want to talk to you about. It's Marvel's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might
have heard of it. Yeah,
small
not much
budget,
spent on it. Who wants to go first? Overall thoughts.
Mark.
Overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts. Well-contained film. We've kind of seen how Marvel always does like a heist film or something. Like this one, obviously magic, the kind of like wushu, Asian inspired film. Definitely, I'm a big fan of those type of movies. So you had my liking of it right there, and the whole like Eastern philosophy. So overall, a nice self-contained film. That's what I thought.
Big Sean.
I thought this movie was incredible. It's probably gonna be like top 2 favorite Marvel movies.
Top 2.
Yeah, because
wow.
and I didn't even like Doctor Strange that much. Like even when the animated Marvel movie came out, I was
I'm not big on the animated movie.
Really? Yeah, I was like, forget it. I still to this day have not seen the animated movie, and it's just this was like Inception ×2 when it came to the environment and like stuff moving.
That was like
I like how they introduced magic into the Marvel universe because the closest we've got was maybe Scarlet Witch, but she's a mutant, and in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where they started introducing Ghost Rider. You know what I mean? And it's just like I thought it was really well done. I felt if you are in a state that just legalized marijuana, you might want to try that because it is trippy. The environment
as a sprinkable topping on your popcorn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That definitely led the way for me. Right, was watching this, and I saw it in IMAX 3D. I saw things that no movie had ever done before.
Yeah.
On that scale.
Yeah.
Like some very trippy scenes, and look, we know that Inception and Christopher Nolan borrowed from Steve Ditko and early runs of Doctor Strange. So before you get all crazy in the comments, Inception borrowed from Doctor Strange comics, and now this is then upping that theatrical adaptation or tribute that Inception then did take.
Yeah.
But it all started with Ditko and crazy splash pages that he would do in Doctor Strange and things like that. So visually, it's just a trip worth to go to the theater and spend your money. You're gonna have your eyeballs filled.
Yeah,
like absolutely, and take that whatever way you want. But
it's definitely definitely like those like Inception type scenes where they were like the buildings were moving and they were walking on different stuff was mind blowing. And
Steve Ditko type scenes. Story wise, I mean, it was good. It's obviously what's good about it is obviously its biggest kind of hindrance for people that watch every Marvel movie, because you have to tell the origin the way it is, and that's how it is. However, just like a lot of comics, it's borrowed from a lot. There's so much parallels to a Tony Stark story of rich guy, pompous asshole, hits rock bottom, has a turn of faith, and then becomes a hero, right? I mean, we get it. It's in so many other things. You just got to get used to it. So I can see how someone who doesn't respect comic origins can be like, oh, well, I kind of seen this before, right? But they have to stick to it. What? They're all of a sudden going to change it completely?
Well, yeah, that's what angers fans to begin with.
Yeah, you have to stick to it, and I think they did a really good job. It's definitely not top 2 for me, but I like it way better than Ant-Man. I like it way better than Captain America: First Avenger. I like it better than the first Thor movie. So it's definitely up there as one of the standalone ones that I enjoy. The only times where I kind of wasn't feeling it was some of the comedy. I felt some of the comedy just didn't work for me. I think they went way too slapstick with his cloak of levitation.
Yeah.
It went a little too slapstick. A lot of it was cool, and it made sense how like they gave it a personality, right? They gave it almost like a
like carpet in Aladdin.
exactly. It was spot on carpet in Aladdin. Whereas it would have been cooler to, and I wonder where this happened because this director was Scott. I think it was Scott Derrickson. And I could be wrong, but I think he's done like horror movies and suspense movies. So I kind of thought, okay, if you have this cloak, I thought it was gonna be more of a Spawn feel.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it was straight up carpet of Aladdin. You know, and it was just like, you know, at the, and this is full spoilers, by the way, from here on out, just in case you didn't know. There's a part where, like, at the end, and his collar's popped with the cloak of levitation, and then for some reason just like wipes things off his face, and he's like, "Stop it!"
Oh yeah, that's your,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It would have been so much cooler if, you know, it did kind of lean more. I'm not saying you should choke people out with it, right? Because I realize that's not the point of it, but
Yeah.
I applaud the fact that they gave it a personality. They went a little too slapstick with it. Other than that, fuck I couldn't imagine what these animatics and whatever storyboards they put together for these action sequences.
Yeah, they were.
Because this is just a mastery of special effects, coordination, editing.
Yeah.
Like, how do you coordinate a complicated group martial arts battle with mystic powers while things are fucking spinning going
Yeah.
upside down
Yeah.
and going inside out?
Interdimensional
How the fuck
portals
do you-
and like, yeah, it was.
Like, how do you even
Just
explain
incredible,
that?
absolutely
Like,
incredible.
explain that to them. It's like, okay, things are gonna be moving, and you're gonna duck, and you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, that was.
Just like blew my mind just
Yeah.
from that standpoint. Really solid story. I didn't give a shit about his relationship with
Rachel McAdams.
yeah,
Or whatever. The
I didn't
character-
care. I mean, I thought that was probably one of the weakest Marvel relationships. Like I think. Like I think Wasp and Ant-Man is a far stronger connection, and I'll even go back to Incredible Hulk, and I think Betty Ross and the Edward Norton banner had a much better connection. This one, I didn't feel it like.
I didn't feel much of anything there too. Like even like I felt more of it in the animated version. You know what I mean? Like just there was definitely a little more attention to detail in that aspect. What did you guys think of the Ancient One in this?
Oh, she was great.
It redeemed it for me. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It brought enough difference to it, and I like the fact that they rolled in the fact of how young she looked with a pivotal plot point, which then leads to Baron Mordo's kind of motivation to turn.
Yeah.
So I liked it. It was cool, right? Like, you know, it's always good to see. You know, I'm sure they could have gotten an incredible, epic. Like, imagine what's the guy from Marco Polo? 1,000 Eyes, 100 Eyes.
Oh yeah.
You don't watch Marco Polo?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Imagine that guy. As
Yeah, he would have been
an ancient
interesting.
one, right? It would have been cool. But I realize we've seen Pai Mei on screen.
It's
before.
it's got to be.
They wanted to go somewhere
They
else.
want to go somewhere else
Yeah.
other than the Pai Mei, Mr. Miyagi,
And she's a
or
great
whatever.
actress.
And she's
did really
always
great. Yeah.
she's always been able to play like kind of an ambiguous character. You know, we talked about her in Constantine.
Yeah, very
You know what I mean?
androgynous all
Very
the time,
androgynous, very ambiguous, but powerful. Like she does hold a very good sense of power. Like her voice is so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's like when she was the queen in Narnia or whatever it is, like she can be so subtle, but just commands authority. Like there is something about her voice that just really comes out. So yeah, it was interesting, but just like I found that like just the name Ancient One, and yeah, I understand like they did explain it. Like I'm always just kind of like expecting a Pai Mei type character in that role, right? So it kind of threw me off a little bit, but again, an interesting character nonetheless.
Anything you really didn't like that stood out to you?
I didn't like.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have a problem with the Ancient One. I thought she was amazing in that role. I mean, I didn't need her to be like some super old person, and I think the way she taught Dr. Strange. It was almost reminiscent of like, I want to say kind of like a Yoda is like, you know, is like kind of comical. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't even, you're just scratching the surface. You know what I mean? And when she like put her it's like just see and just opening his third eye. And
that was a very interesting aspect that they went to, like the pineal gland and that kind of whole aspect of.
There was all that stuff was just amazing because I'm seeing, and I need to watch that again. There's so many crazy fractal elements that came in through there.
Well, it's anything.
Someone researched some Terrence McKenna.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go with it. So you said it before I did, was the fact that they really took some thought and they took like any studies on DMT or anything like that, and they actually put it into this film. And guys, like, if you don't know anything about DMT, you know, like, we're all big Rogan fans here, and like and his podcast, and it's just that kind of opens your eyes, and the fact that like these guys took that so seriously and added it into their film, just kind of that was a really good homage to me.
And she even said when she does it, open your eye.
Exactly. Yeah, she does, and she hits him like right in the place where it was.
Yeah, all that stuff fucking killed it, man. And it was stuff that I hadn't seen before in a feature film kind of like this. It went all out on it, done so well. Fit the story, expanded like the Marvel universe into weird, crazy fucking dimensions. And it's fun that other people are getting in on it too that wouldn't actually. And I'm kind of in that too because I never read a Doctor Strange comic. I was really only familiar with Doctor Strange whenever he was involved with the Illuminati. That was really it. But I never. And I, you know, when the animated movie came out, I watched it. So that kind of got me up to speed on, you know, his villains with Mordo, his origin, the Ancient One. Dormammu, all that, but you know, now like I'm invested. Like I want to see where this shit goes,
and I like
which is fun.
How Marvel has kind of explained like magic and almost like a science.
That's very much like, so.
You could go back to Thor and when he's talking to Jane and he's like, you know, where I come, you call it magic.
Yeah.
And where I come is one and the same.
Right. Technology.
Technology is one and the same.
Yeah. And it's like the way they explained it is like how they're taking energies from other dimensions and opening other dimensions. So
it's like
a hack.
Yeah, it does. It's exactly. That's a great term for it.
And that shows kind of the state of the type of passion and thought that goes into a comic book movie that, you know, someone like Schumacher never put in, but you felt you didn't need to. I'll just put it in. You don't need to explain it at all. Where, you know, and there's a line where he's being taught
for kids and selling toys.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to make sense. We're not making, you know, The Godfather here.
No. We're just selling toys.
So why about, you know, take cheats. Don't put, you know, you have stupid loopholes and shit like that. Like that doesn't fly anymore, man.
No.
And
it has to be a cohesive story. Exactly,
with some grounding. But it doesn't mean that the, you know, grounding has to take all the fun out of it. So it was really, really clever how she related it to either writing lines of code or verbal commands.
Yes.
Because rather than just giving a spell, right? Oh, we give spells. Well, no, I'm using hand motions and our words in order to tap into universal energies that your senses can't see that are there, but they're there.
Yeah, and
just like writing a code or a verbal command to a piece of technology which is coded to do something.
Yeah,
right? Really, really smart.
No, very smart, and just like and the whole fact that they're opening up like portals, almost like opening up wormholes or anything of that nature. Like there was serious thought put into explaining everything.
Right. Yeah. Which I enjoyed. The only things to knock it are really the things that, you know, Marvel's kind of comfortable with now, which is, you know, Marvel will rarely have an out-of-the-park villain until you get to Thanos, hopefully, right? Because they can't give Thanos the type of play that Ronan the Accuser got. That I don't even know the fucking name of Mads Mikkelsen's character in this, the main villain. What the fuck's his name?
Oh, Dormammu?
No, that's not Dormammu. Dormammu I knew. But Mads Mikkelsen, the guy with the he's the villain. In he's trying to bring Dormammu. What the fuck's his name? Right, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. Malekith from Thor 2. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I accept the fact that Marvel movies are about the heroes. And the overarching thing.
But even like
it's just too bad because villains are just so fun.
They are so fun. Like I thought Ultron was such a letdown. You know what I mean? And and it's just like that's the one big difference between I guess the Marvel and DC. Like DC relishes in their villains.
They do. Yeah.
They really relish in their villains, and like you have villains like the Joker who are just as, if not more popular than some of the heroes, or there's such a point to their character that it only helps the hero stand up because it's such an opposing force.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? DC has a great lineup of villains, but right now they're not doing their villains properly. So it's like almost like Marvel's like, you know what? We know villains are important, but right now we're concentrating on the hero because I think people put so much emphasis on how is this actor going to portray this villain because he's such a classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they've made a conscious effort to put the vast majority of screen time and story time
into their hero.
Into the hero.
Yeah.
Right? And in some of these origin stories you kind of have to, right? I mean, the only one that I think has been a real waste in terms of the Marvel villains is Red Skull. Right? Yeah. And I enjoyed Red Skull, but it's been so long since I've seen the first one because the overall movie didn't get me. But he's really the only one. Everyone else, I mean, Ironmonger, who gives a fuck? Like, did we ever really need to see him? Neither with Whiplash. Abomination we should see again.
Yeah,
because he could be somewhere. He could be worthwhile. He could be fun in something. Malekith, who cares? Ronan the Accuser looked cool, but I don't think you really need him to fit through, as a through line through this entire MCU. Yellow Jacket was easily the worst.
Yeah,
like, I gave zero. Fucks. I gave zero fucks about the.
Yeah,
he fucking brought in a lamb to test that fucking shit on. Like,
I'm evil.
Yeah, that was just straight out. Like, that lost me.
Yeah,
we're not.
Loki's
still by far the best.
Loki's by far the best, and he's got an ongoing storyline, and I definitely enjoy Loki.
I think he's just gonna be used in the next movie for Thor Ragnarok just to fight Loki. Because Dr.Strange. Because
well, he's it could be, and right now he's impersonating Odin on the throne, right?
Yeah.
So he has to play an integral part in him. Other than that, I mean, we really haven't wasted anybody per se. Like, I can live without it, but it would be good once, and we're probably going to hit a. Oh yeah, and Winter Soldier was technically a bad guy for a while, but then
but I enjoy the fact that they're swapping.
You know who they really can't fuck up, and this is gonna fall in like a really different realm here. Is they need to bring Norman Osborn into this fucking hardcore. Like he needs to be the man in this new universe, and not just in the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Because it's all happening in the same universe now.
Yeah.
And Norman Osborn of Oscorp, and whether he becomes Goblin or not, he needs to be a force, man. Yeah. Like he cannot be a one and done kind of guy. Especially when this we don't know who's going to renew of actors going forward. Like the new Avengers might be just a whole new crop of other guys after these Infinity War movies.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, well, and that's a very good point. Like, let's say we need that kind of overall villain, like somebody who works like the Lex Luthor or the Joker does in Justice League. You know what I mean?
That's Norman Osborn,
and that would be Osborn. Yeah. So they need to do that with him. Yeah. So
and they can't fuck up Venom.
Oh my God!
Now that's the funny thing too, is that a lot of the really, really great villains are on the
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yep.
And now, but what's going to go on with does Sony and Marvel have that whole contract negotiation?
Yeah, they have a contract for 3 movies.
They have for 3 movies, and what does it include? Does it include all those? which is now that becomes a sticking point. Like we're now used, because we've seen Spider-Man in Civil War, that we think, oh yeah, you know, everything's game. But at the end of the day, it's still a contract. It's only a 3-film contract, and it, as far as I know, only includes Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, it's three Spider-Man films, and then a bunch of cameos.
Yeah, a bunch
So
of
you can go into other movies
for him.
Yeah.
Does that include?
Well, there'll be some Marvel guys coming over.
There has to be. I'm just I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, right?
You're likely never going to see the Sinister Six and the entire New Avengers, whoever they are, running at each other. Right. So it's not going to be a total, which really hinders it, because a Norman Osborn could really do some cool things if he's involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe overall.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's renegotiated. Like I'm just saying, it's like they have to put some thought into that, and it's like these are pivotal, absolutely pivotal characters in the MCU. You know, like is it worth, you know, like buying out the contract from Sony or whatever it may be, like, or extending the contract? I think that they should start thinking about that now before it gets too late.
You know what I was also going to talk about? Sorry to...
No.
But didn't the music... Like, they really need to work on the music in Marvel. Because I feel Doctor Strange, the music in Doctor Strange, didn't it remind you of Star Trek?
You know what? I couldn't even hum you the thing.
I don't remember anything about.
And it's like you can't even like hum any Marvel cinematic universe.
Well, Galaxy.
But that's the soundtrack of like freaking.
Yeah, they just took that 90. Yeah.
No, absolutely, but they just smartly used them. But so you're talking original music.
Yeah, like an original score. Yeah, I can tell you. I identify immediately what the new Superman one is, like the Henry Superman. I love the Wonder Woman one. That's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite score.
So good
in recent memory. Love the Wonder Woman one. I could identify the new Batman one. Yeah, and that's all Junkie Excel.
Think of Avengers.
Yeah, like, there's no music.
They've made a conscientious choice not to repay these composers. They've gone on the cheap.
That's right.
Marvel's gone on the cheap for these composers. Even if they do one, they won't renew that guy and pay him any sort of licensing rights for the next one. They've just made a conscious choice to not put effort into it. Right?
I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, they're killing it.
They're living without it, right? Yeah. So I wouldn't expect going forward anything different. I mean, I think the Avengers one, they've changed it a bit. But
that's what we can't tell. It's just so.
It's definitely not in your head. Dormammu looked okay, but kind of underwhelming. I realize you can't go
huge guy with a
flaming head. Yeah, you can't go huge guy with a flaming head, right? And he definitely looked better than Malboja in Spawn.
Yeah.
This is where you cut to Spawn.
Yeah.
Enough. Spawn must choose to murder Wynn and release the virus. Then my army will be complete.
Now, love fun.
This is your last chance.
And it was funny, and it looked okay. They could have gone a little more simple, but he could probably change his look, so that could be something going forward. I think I'm okay with Baron Mordo's twist at the end. It was definitely way better than Sinestro at the end of Green Lantern. The mentor hero guy now turned arch nemesis. Yeah. Right? It definitely had a bit more plausible storyline to his heel turn. Yeah. But I kind of like the animated one better. Spoilers for Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, the animated one. In that one, Baron Mordo changes sides because he clashes again with the Ancient One, just like in the movie version. Mm-hmm. But he's so militaristic and so ready to put enemies to the sword, and far too aggressive on the other side. Almost like a dark side kind of thing, right? Yeah. He's way too aggressive and militant and whatever, and he feels that's what they need in order to keep the Earth safe. And he feels the Ancient One is soft, and therefore he turns that way, thinking, no, I need to rule with an iron fist. This one of him being burned because the Ancient One was breaking the rules and he felt betrayed by that, and now he feels that there should be less sorcerers in the world. It doesn't feel as cool to me as the other one, but hey, it doesn't have to.
It's still plausible.
We're nitpicking.
Yeah, of course.
Overall, here's like the big thing for me. I sat down and I thought I was gonna get kind of a bit more. I knew I was gonna get the trippiness. I knew I was gonna get the cosmic out of this world. I thought there would be more kind of weight and sinister horror type elements here, and I got way more slapstick comedy than I wanted.
Yeah,
that was really my thing.
You mentioned that earlier, and it's I definitely I can see it, and it almost played into like I said, this is more of like that kind of mythic like wire fu Wu Chang type movie, and it's like that's almost like an element of like the Jackie Chan stuff. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like they kind of stuck to that formula, and they went that route instead. Like there was a lot of good ancient Eastern philosophy that brought out the magic and all that. There was visually all that, but like they used kind of that slapstick humor to kind of lighten it, where this could have been a really good, fully dramatic film.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted a little bit more.
And so I see your point.
You wanted more dramatic?
I wanted more dramatic, a little bit more sinister, a little bit more dark magic. And not so much kind of like at some point I was like, all right, well, I'm getting this fun movie, and in the end it didn't feel like a serious film to me, because when the Earth was being torn apart, I didn't take it seriously. That was the thing. Like I didn't feel like what I felt when and this is an unfair comparison, but the feeling when you're watching the Dark Knight and the Joker has bombs on those two ships.
Yeah.
And each ship has the buzzer to the other one. There was just a tension.
Yeah.
Right? There was a tension, and I thought this movie would be the one to bring that tension because of outwardly powers and demonic mysticism and magic and stuff like that. I was expecting a little bit more tension.
I don't know, but that's not Marvel.
And I got... Well, but this is the thing. This is the character to do that because there's so many demons that he fights, and this director that they got, I gotta look at the director that they got fit that. If I knew that they were gonna get Lord and Miller, the guys that did the Lego movie, then I get it. I just felt I was gonna get more tension, but I accepted what I was getting. It was a fun movie, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm just in for the ride here, right? Same thing that happened to me with Suicide Squad, because I was expecting Suicide Squad to be a lot more tension, gritty urban combat, and then we got just an out of this world crazy fucking
it was
so I locked in, and I'm like, okay, I'm down for the ride, and I'm still gonna enjoy it.
Here's my logic though. I think they were explaining that they fight all these proxy wars all the time. That's why they're looking at this globe and what everything. If they took everything seriously, they would lose. It'd be like working where I work. If I took everything seriously all the time, I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
I'd come home, I'd be all stressed, and I'd be thinking about work and da-da-da. Sometimes you gotta just, laugh it off and take the jokes. And you find the dark humor in things, you know what I mean? And I know there wasn't a lot of dark humor, but I think they couldn't really take themselves seriously because it'd be like a Constantine. It'd be straight magic and it'd be serious and.
I was ready for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so listen to this. So Dr. Strange, directed by Scott Derrickson. Okay, here's what he's directed, and not just wrote. He's written a lot more.
Yeah.
Hellraiser Inferno, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil. See what I mean?
No, like I see what you're like. Definitely, like, and thinking of some of those films which I've seen, I can see your point, but like I still wouldn't see that fitting into the MCU. Like that's just because the MCU is just it's got more brevity to it. It's got it's always had that, and that's what makes MCU.
Yeah.
And it's like by doing what you're thinking and making it more like closer to the Dark Knight type Nolan tension it would take me out of that universe. It would take me out of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, that's what I was, and it all fits and it all works, but I thought this was going to be the first little tiptoe into like a horror style. Not true horror, because kids are not going to have fucking nightmares, right? But there's no horror at all.
No, there isn't.
There's absolutely none. And I thought they would like if Ant-Man is a fucking heist movie. Ant-Man is more of a heist movie than this is we're not Ant-Man fans.
No,
right?
by now.
Did you like it? Yeah, it's a Pop-Tart. That's what he said. Coined the phrase Pop-Tart, right?
Yeah.
If Ant-Man is far more of a heist movie, and we all debate that it's not a real true heist movie. Like,
no.
Well, watch Heat and The Town if you want to see a heist movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But Ant-Man is definitely far more of a heist movie than this is a horror movie.
Oh yeah, I don't see this as a horror movie at all.
Yeah, and it's probably my own fault for anticipating that.
Yeah,
I do know that they brought in a writer after in post-production, and when they filmed some pickups and a little bit of reshoots, it was a comedy writer.
Yeah.
So there might have been something in the can, because this director does not pump out.
Yeah.
It might have been something like way too scary for them, and then they're like, no, we need to lighten this up.
Yeah.
Let's go more of that.
Yeah, which
so somewhere in there, there's
that's
that.
MCU to me, right? That to me, that's what MCU would do. But again, to each their own. But yeah, like I've been culpable of that too before, where I go in and I expect a certain person, a certain person's directing it, so I expect a certain movie, and then once you don't get it, you are disappointed. But I don't like what I saw. Like I didn't do any research on this director before I went into this film, and the film I got was an MCU film that was enjoyable, right?
Yeah, so. Cool. Which is good, because I think you knew even less than about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I got you guys had told me about the animated movie, which I popped in one day, and that's literally the only Doctor Strange I've ever seen before in my life. So
it's not that good of an animated film. I didn't.
It held up, and it gave me I watched it more so just to catch, but yeah, it had some points to it. But like I said, a normal type story.
Yeah. I want to see. Okay, so at some point, we have to come, whether it's Avengers Infinity War or something else. There's going to be a group battle of the Avengers with Doctor Strange, and they're going to be fighting in a crazy, twisted, inside out, fucking mirror dimension.
I can see that.
That will be absolutely nuts.
I think Doctor Strange is gonna be the transport guy, because if Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, and everybody else meets up, right, they have to go between. So it's like, all right, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Or he'll do his fucking with the eye. Yeah. You know what's gonna be fucking wild is how the hell is the Avengers Infinity War, because right now I think it's just one movie.
Yeah.
They had part 1, part 2, then they got rid of that, and that just might be like a red herring, or it might be a number 2, but that essentially has to be the Thanos gathering up and getting all these stones, because not all is he gonna take the fucking stone out of Vision's head? Is he gonna break open the fucking Eye of Agamotto necklace that Doctor Strange has? He's got to get all of them. Yeah. Right now he has none. So that'll be pretty fucking wild.
Who do you think he's gonna go first? I think he's gonna go to
be Guardian. Oh really? Yeah. Which one do they have in Asgard? They have the Tesseract, right?
They have that red one.
And the Ether?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which ones does the Collector have? He's got one.
Well, he has a dark elf, so he has the.
But I thought the Collector lost it.
It blew up.
Because in Guardians he lost all his shit.
Oh.
Yeah. The Tesseract, which was from the first Avengers movie, that's on Asgard.
Yes.
The Aether is... I have no
Should be on
fucking idea
Asgard.
where it is. That's on
'Cause, I mean,
Asgard too?
If you think about it, it was like
There's not
the
doesn't
elves.
who doesn't Shield have one in that like chamber?
I don't know. The Aether's the only one I'm not sure of. Tesseract, let me see let's see what the interwebs says. Infinity Stones. But the Nova Core has the orb, because that is a stem in
Yeah.
it. Eye of Vision has one of them. So yeah, the Tesseract in Asgard for sure. Nova Core with the orb. Vision with, if it's the Soul Gem or whatever. I guess it's the Time Gem or the Reality Gem in the Eye of Agamotto. We're missing the other ones. Infinity Stone. But yeah, there's a ton to fucking... That's covering so much ground. Can you imagine? What an insane fucking movie. Oh, look at that. Google, where are the 6 Infinity Stones? We're gonna have to find this out. Write in the comments if you guys know. But, yeah, there's a lot to fucking pull on together. They kind of just sprinkled that in at the end there. They're like, oh, it's an Infinity Stone. You know what would be great? Is if Wong and Dr. Strange just looked to the camera after they said it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like broke
the fourth
broke
wall.
the fourth wall, and that would have been great. But I'm down. I'm hoping for a hell of a lot more. Takes into weird, trippy dimensions. I don't know much about Nightmare, but he seems like a really cool one to come. I'd rather see more Doctor Strange stuff with Nightmare than, like, I'm really not down to see him fight Baron Mordo and Mordo conjure up something. It's not working for me.
Yeah, I think the second one's gonna be darker.
Think so?
I think this was just, you know, the origin story and whatnot.
Get it in there.
But yeah.
It all works together, and Benedict Cumberbatch will have to carry probably the next, 5 years of movies or
Yeah.
whatever. So all around, get your ass to the theater if you're
Exactly,
you've already
yes.
gone. Like, come on, let's be serious. It's already been out for like a week.
Yeah.
So you've gone there. So yeah, we don't have a rating scale. Fucking awesome from all three of us. That's our. It's either fucking terrible or it's fucking awesome.
we don't play. There's no gray area here.
Yeah. Don't trust our opinions.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to rate movies at all. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Let us know in the comments what you thought, if you absolutely incessantly disagree or agree with anything we said. What do you see for the future of the MCU and how it plays out? Throw it all in the comments. Battle it out.
Let's hear it, guys.
Yeah. Follow us
Talk
on
soon.
Twitter at the Hero Lair. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll hang out with you really, really soon. See ya.